Hello and welcome to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel, where we're playing some Inkulinati and roasting some liberal and reactionary liberal bullshit. Yesterday, if you remember, or if you were here anyway, we learned from Vox that it's easy to make the US seem democratic if you just avoid defining your terms. And then we went on to begin learning from Caleb Maupin that it's big tech censorship when Google relegates a protest led by white nationalists to the mere second and third top search results on Google. Wait, what's going on here? Is my connection fucking around? Hang on. What's going on here? Okay, is this going out to... Yeah, it's going out to Twitch. Hello, Twitch viewers. I don't know what's going on with my connection. I've had some weird stuff happen with my connection the past few days. Anyway, seems to be working now, so continue journey. We're going to continue our journey. And I'm going to reorganize my windows yet again, so that I can actually see what's going on. Okay. What's happening here? Hello, Adam. How you doing? Just occurred to me, by putting audio output on there, in addition to game source, I might be like causing an echo. Okay, rematch. I don't remember what this level was. I just remember I got my ass kicked. Okay. Oh, I'm pretty good. Okay, got my hatchet guy. Him in here. And... yeah. There we go. It's time to go up against Godfrey. Oh shit. I almost had him. Hey Adam, are you on the Discord? Orale. Oh. That happens. Get rid of that fucking barrel. That's just a pain in the ass. Ah, okay. I tried something a little bit different last night. There was this article on Vox that was a response to the coverage of a study that pointed out that basically only the ruling class has any discernible say in what goes on in U.S. politics, and claimed that actually the U.S. is an imperfect democracy, but a democracy nonetheless, based on just completely using all sorts of vague, just nonsense terms and never really defining what anything was about. And I think I'm gonna do more of that. Just looking at doing like close readings of print, like liberal propaganda in print form. And as such, I would be quite interested in, if people want to nominate cursed liberal takes on things. Incidentally, have you heard about the crowdfunded translation project? Yes. Well, I mean, it's so imperfect apparently that you can't actually list the issues you're talking about that supposedly the middle class, which is undefined, don't yeah, are winning on against the elites, undefined. Okay. So I have this thing that I do. I've been trying to do it more often and make it a thing where I take texts, documents, maybe a book, stuff that doesn't have any IP restrictions attached to it, that there would be, that would be in public interest, or at least that there would be an interest in people in having a translation of, but that there's no single client who's going to be who's going to foot the bill for translating it. And in order to get around that, I I crowdfund it so that I cover the costs, so that I actually shit, that's not good. It's not good when your bow wielding dog dies on you. So I raise the funds to cover the cost of just taking a break from the normal, tragically boring but paid translation work. And I translate it as I go, and then I make it publicly available. I make the result publicly available once it's finished. So right now, the current project is to do the first extant full-length English translation of Alexandra Kalantai's Social Basis of the Female Question from 1909, which somehow has never does not appear to have ever been translated in its full length. So far, I fully funded and the introduction, and I translated that. There's a draft up on my Patreon. And right now, I'm trying to raise funds to cover the cost of Chapter 1. It's a long book. It's 400 pages, 90,000 words. So rather than trying to raise everything all at once, I'm going chapter by chapter. It just seems like there's a better chance of actually getting it funded that way, because otherwise the total amount would probably appear a bit daunting otherwise. So right now I'm trying to raise the total for the for chapter 1, which is 16,000 words, was about $1,600. And so far I've raised about 700 of that, so I'm trying to raise like the last 900. and I've already begun work since I'm nearly halfway to having the full amount. So I've already begun working on the translation, and my plan is once that's fully funded, I would try to have it within, I think, probably about 2 weeks, depending on how much I get done. Depending on how much I get done between now and then, since I've already started on it. So that's something I'm trying to publicize and raise funds for. To be as I've had really good momentum on that project, and so far it's going really well. And I figure there are probably more people who would be interested in it than are seeing my posts about it. So I'm trying to get as much signal boosting there as possible, in addition to just the wonderfully generous contributions people who are as excited about this project as I have made. So that's the crowdfunded translation project. Hey, Haku, how you doing? Pujol. Very Catalan. Yeah, I'm excited about it. If you go to my Patreon, you'll find the first draft of the introduction in PDF format. I hadn't initially been intending to do it as a PDF, but then it turned out that Patreon hates tables. And Kollontai, she kind of likes tables. She has lots of tables. And so it was just unusable in the original where I just cut and pasted it into Patreon. Gender discrimination through a social constructivist lens. Sounds like an interesting project. How do you feel about how you did on it? Oh, it's always good when you walk away from an essay and actually feel like you nailed it. Hola, Phoenix, ¿cómo estás? No, these are the usual. Patreon. Oh, you're not getting the link. Because that's only going out on Twitch. Here's my Patreon. And that also has the information for, like, direct, both to do direct contributions or to go via the Patreon. Oh, hell. That wasn't good. That's not how I wanted that to go. Ooh la la. Actually, move myself over right now. It's been an interesting project because what I've been working from is the only format that this seems to be available in, even in Russian online, is a series of bad scans of a 1909 printing of the book. I mean, the scans are really not good. So, like, the first part of the project, each time I start a new section, it all has to be cleaned up. Just the OCR has to be cleaned up. Okay. This is a little bit too close for comfort. But it doesn't matter, I just won. Yay! Here, I'll get you the direct link to... Here we are. This is the actual introduction with the PDF and stuff. Okay, talents. Candy business. Healing explosions. Cheaper beasts. I think I do well with cheaper beasts, actually. And we've got sleep. Detonation, that'll be handy. Bishop cat. Okay, here we go. Let's see what happens now. Oh, this is a tight one. Okay, so first thing is... I was hoping I could push that off, but the doors, they just bounce off of. The doors are a huge pain in the ass. Oh, thank you! And the way I'm doing it, in addition to direct contributions, all of my, like, Patreon contributions are also counting as contributions towards the, crowdfunded translation. There we go. But I'm about to lose my bowl because the snail can just eat it alive. Ah, wonderful, an infection cloud. There we go. That snail doesn't look it, but it's an absolute menace. It can just eat you up in one go. Oh, it pushed me onto a nice big ink blot. That's handy, actually. I appreciate that. Well, random halos and health. Okay. There we go. Give the devil a halo. Ah, shit. Okay, I'm about to lose one, I think. Oh, well. Okay. And I believe that makes me the last one standing. There we go. Oh, and a quill. I need that. Quills are what they call your extra lives. And I was down to my last one. Oh, the joys of pre-reform Russian spelling. That was one of just the things that I have discovered as working on this, because this thing is written. It was printed in 1909, so nearly a decade before the spelling reform that made Russian like user friendly. happened. And I had never really looked into how any of that worked. I knew how to read the letters, but I didn't know why you would write one and not another. And then I looked into it, and it is wild, and it explains precisely why a reform was needed. It was nothing but fucking historic spellings. A bit of healing. And add another axe-wielding devil. Ooh la la. There we go. Bugger. Well, it's a good thing I made extras. That way, I don't keep losing beasties every time they kick one, because they have someplace to go. And there we go. Okay, that's one down. The annoying hand creature. Okay. Take another one out. Shit. Just barely there. Let's move a little bit away. Okay, perfect. And I won. And now it is time to move on to the roasting. Okay, now we started on a pretty wild ride, I'm told, yesterday, with Caleb Maupin explaining about how the fact that the white nationalist Rage Against the War Machine march was only number 2 and 3 in the Google search results rather than number 1 was big tech censorship. We've got other options. And here, it's actually quit to menu, quit out of this. Though I must say, I think that one might actually reward further viewing. OBS. So, fake woke leftists triggered by anti-war coalition rally. This is the one about the big tech censorship where there's also Vosh looks at the State of the Union. Get ready to stand and clap, he says. Both of these seem suitably cursed. I think both of them, maybe we could get a little bit of each of them in there. What's everybody think? Oh, yes, he really is. Gets bigger every time I see him. I just need to get my headphones connected up. Okay, wait a second. Can't get this isn't wanting to connect. Oh, I hadn't turned it on. That does explain it. It helps when you turn things on if you want to connect them to your Bluetooth. Connecting things to Bluetooth often requires them to actually not be turned off. Uh, oh, hang on. So here we go. When last we spoke, he was showing us the rigged Google search results, where the Rage Against the War Machine white nationalist demo was only number 2 and 3 of the search results. And number 1 was Black Agenda Report criticizing it for being full of fucking white nationalists. And which was enough to discredit Black Agenda Report, which on a probably agrees with him when it comes to U.S. and U.S. imperialism more often than it disagrees. But they pointed out that there are white nationalists all over the fucking fake ass anti-war rallies. So apparently that discredits them. That makes them a fucking CIA. They're CIA funded Trotskyists. But here we go.
Is a progressive revolutionary anti-war protest, so much so that they're rigging the algorithms against it.
Yes, because it's on the top fucking page of search results. Let's just remember in this context that Google will outright just take entire pages, entire types of pages off of their search results entirely. Like, if you, in a lot of jurisdictions, try to look for torrent sites on Google, it'll just tell you this stuff has been taken down pursuant to a court order or something. They can do that. They can just take stuff down and it won't show up in the results at all. But he's saying that they rigged it by only having it show up at place number 2 and 3 on the first page of fucking Google results.
But folks, the denunciations of this anti-war demonstration have gotten to be so unbelievably stupid.
Wait, what was he... What, did he think that was about to fall on him?
So unbelievably stupid. This is the best one I could find.
Oh, okay, this is good. This is going to be the best one he could find. I wonder if it's going to be It's Going Down. Because they looked into all the different, literal neo-Nazis who are involved in it, including Matthew fucking Heimbach, who apparently was going to speak at a CPI meeting, but somehow it didn't end up panning out. But he's involved in this one.
It's by Melinda Butterfield. Melinda Butterfield gave her opinion of the upcoming protests. This is...
Okay, who the hell... Okay, I've never heard of Melinda Butterfield. Okay. See if I can find this thing. No, it's Benet Blend. Okay, yes. Here in Struggle, La Lucha, looks, I think she is Maoist, it seems like. Apparently, a Twitter account associated with her or somebody connected to her is called Red Guard. So, yeah. So her title is that the far right sets a trap for the anti-war movement, which is pretty accurate. That's exactly what's going on. So let's see, what's he gonna do? Because this is already sounding like exactly the sort of thing that he just totally dismissed when it was Black Agenda Report.
This is what Melinda Butterfield wrote, right? There's a whole long screed about Lyndon LaRouche and all kinds of stuff that's not really that important.
Oh, wait, yeah, it's not really important that the people organizing this fucking rally are connected to a fascist who once tried to start an official working relationship with the CIA, bragging about all the files he kept on leftists in the U.S. Yeah, I mean, that's not important. That's not something we need to dwell on. So he's going to skip over that.
But here's the most important sentence in this article, this brilliant article written by Melinda.
Its true purpose, however, is to strengthen the grip of the openly fascist white supremacist movement in the U.S. based on anti-trans panic, hatred of migrants and refugees, censorship of black and LGBTQ history, robbing women of the right to abortion, and so on. Okay, I mean, nothing... That sounds about right. I mean, personally, I would have thought the more important part was where she had the receipts on, you know, the involvement of LaRouche's and all those other motherfuckers. But I can understand why a LaRouche, like Caleb Muppet, might be hesitant to talk about that.
This is what Melinda writes about the Rage Against the War Machine rally. Quote, its true purpose is to strengthen the grip of the openly white supremacist movement in the United States based on anti-trans panic, hatred of migrants and refugees, censorship of black and LGBT history, and robbing women of their right to abortion.
And so on. Okay, it's interesting because really you can't read that sentence without reading the paragraph that comes before. The paragraph that comes before it is short, so I'll just read it. She says, the ultra-right is preying on the weakness and confusion that has plagued the anti-war movement since the outbreak of open conflict between Russia and NATO's proxy regime in Ukraine last year. In this, the far right is attempting to lead anti-war forces into a trap that would override the life and death concerns of oppressed communities for the false hope of a broad alliance against the danger of World War III. Now, I can see why he decides to skip that over, because it's very clear. Again, just as the case with Jacqueline Lookman, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, in the Black Agenda report, she's somebody who, if this was legitimately, if this did not involve a whole bunch of fascists, would clearly, she's somebody who would be on side with this rally. I mean, it makes it very clear when you read the sentence right before this. But he skips it, even though there's a however here, which clearly refers back to what immediately came before.
That's what she wrote.
Yes, that's what she wrote. Yeah, how long is he's going to just keep on going like that, isn't he?
The true purpose of this rally, Chris Hedges isn't there because he wants to stop the war. He's there because he wants to strengthen the grip of an openly fascist white supremacist movement. Yeah.
Well, I mean, actually, to be fair, Chris Hedges is there because he wants to promote Chris Hedges, which is the only cause Chris Hedges gives a fuck about. I mean, and it's really remarkable, too, when you think about Chris Hedges. Okay, you remember back in the days of Occupy, Chris Hedges wrote an article called The Cancer in Occupy, where he claimed that Black Bloc tactics were not actually tactics. They were a movement, an organization that was needed to be eradicated. And, I mean, he just lied his ass off about it. And, he was just totally humiliated repeatedly over the just ridiculous things he wrote in this article because he clearly didn't know what the fuck he was talking about, or he just hoped his readers didn't know what the fuck they were talking about, or what the fuck he was talking about. And he just kind of went on with that. So, people who use Black Bloc tactics, people who block up and use confrontational tactics of any kind in, situations, in protests and stuff like that, they're a cancer and you can't go anywhere near them. They have to be eradicated, according to Chris Hedges. But white nationalists, fucking Matthew Heimbach, some of the organizers of the pogrom in Charlottesville that killed Heather Heyer, and amongst other people who were seriously harmed by it, and terrorized the community of Charlottesville for actually weeks in advance, they're okay. They're not a cancer. Just people who use Black Bloc tactics. The kind of people who show up to defend their communities against the motherfuckers he's sharing a platform with.
Garland Nixon, he's African American, but I guess he's lying to everybody when he says he's there because he wants to stop the war, because actually, even though he's African American, he's going there because he wants to strengthen the grip of an openly fascist white supremacist movement. Cynthia?
Well, why the hell? Well, then give us an explanation of why he's standing alongside explicit white supremacists that doesn't include him being okay with explicit white supremacists.
McKinney, U.S. Congresswoman.
I mean, she's not a good example to use. She is is openly fash. I mean, she promotes every, like, Nazi conspiracy theory out there. She sells the Rothschild bullshit. All of it. I mean, it was absolutely shocking, the stuff that she put out there. So, like, acting all incredulous that somebody might suggest that Cynthia McKinney would be allied with fash when she's been openly allied with fash for at least a decade now, that's kind of impressive. I mean, he's gonna act all incredulous about it. Well, he's reading this so incredulously because that's his whole thing. That's his whole bit. He reads things incredulously.
Who Melinda endorsed in 2008 and voted for when he was a member of the Workers' World Party, or she was a member of the Workers' World Party.
Oh, wait, so you're saying that she has reconsidered her views? Because the thing is that Cynthia McKinney, between 2008 and now, she's had some takes. A lot of people who would have endorsed her in 2008 feel differently now. I mean, I remember, I didn't have any objections to her in 2008 either. It was a couple of years later that she started saying all the fashy shit.
But I guess Cynthia McKinney, even though Cynthia McKinney's political views, even though she's a black revolutionary, black nationalist, no.
Well, I mean, I guess you could say, since she likes fascism and white nationalists, that she's into nationalism. I guess you could say that.
She is going there because she wants to strengthen the grip of
the people she's allied with for, like, the past decade.
Openly fascist white supremacists. This is the stupidest thing I have ever read. Everyone...
Wait a second. You have to remember that he has presumably read his own books. He's saying this is worse than that.
Melinda says that everyone who goes to this rally is a Ku Klux Klan member.
No, where did she say that? Citation needed.
Everyone. Maybe you don't like me. That's fine. You don't have to like me. Maybe you don't like the Libertarian Party. No, but...
Well, yeah, because they're full of fucking white supremacists. Not to mention just fucking nonsense as well.
The whole point of the rally...
I mean, what you know about this, about this rally being organized by the Libertarian Party is that a lot of people... there will be a Google trend showing a sudden increase in searches for age of consent in the state this is happening in.
The whole purpose of this rally, according to Melinda, is to, quote, strengthen the grip of the openly fascist white supremacist movement.
Okay, let's just have a look at what else she has to say. Okay. Some of the anti-war left are desperate for an alliance with the far right. Having no confidence in the multinational working class, the only force historically capable of stopping imperialist war and halting the advance of fascism. This is reflected in the details of the lineup and sponsors of the February 19th event, including a libertarian wing of the Bernie Sanders electoral movement and so-called patriotic socialists like the Center for Political Innovation. Hey, why doesn't he got a shout-out in this? These leftists, she says, have been a part of a trend that platforms fascists while denigrating and dismissing the most oppressed sections of the working class, who have the least to lose and the most to gain from a revival of revolutionary class struggle in the U.S. Black and brown people, migrants, Muslims, women, trans people, the LGBTQ community, the poor, trans people get a mention twice, the disabled, etc. So, I mean... he's decided to reduce this to one sentence. Here, I'm going to drop a link to this in chat so you can all see it. I mean, I don't know, I've never heard of Melinda Butterfield, but I'm not seeing anything that I would find at all problematic in here. Okay, she goes, They argue that the struggles of these workers for their basic democratic rights somehow detract from the class struggle rather than enhance and strengthen it. Many of them also dismiss the organizing of service industry workers like those at Starbucks. That's a shout out to Haz, who claims that baristas aren't workers, who actually provide grassroots militant leadership to the labor movement. Such a policy, put into practice through events like Rage Against the War Machine that attempt to play down class divisions and whitewash the far right's war on the oppressed, can only serve the aims of the imperialist ruling class. And this is actually, I have to say, I don't know anything about Melinda Butterfield. There may be all sorts of things that I would end up disagreeing with her on, but what I'm seeing in this article, this is actually, I would say this is a good article.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You have to have a hole in your head to think that that's the case.
Really? Well, maybe you could tell your audience why she thinks it's the case.
You really believe that Jill Stein is sitting there and saying, well, I'm going to lie and say I'm against the war, but...
Well, yeah, Jill Stein's been allying herself with the far right for years. It's actually why I have a lot of friends who are involved in green organizing. The first vote I ever cast at a presidential election was for the Green Party when Nader and LeDuc were running. I know a lot of people who actually were, while being revolutionary anti-capitalists and therefore critical of the liberalism of the Green Party, had a lot of time for the Green Party and its organizers, and were utterly turned off by the way that Jill Stein just completely, along with Cynthia McKinney, completely moved that party just right into the arms of the far right.
Actually, I want to strengthen the openly fascist and white supremacist movement. These people...
He's doing the exact same bullshit Vosh does when people point out why it is that white guys get uncomfortable when you oppose sexism a lot of the time, and racism and the intersection of racism and sexism, because it feels like they're losing something, like the ability to just not have to think about how their behavior affects people. And Vosh tries to say, yeah, these people are saying that 13-year-olds are Dr. Evil. And I mean, he's just doing the exact same thing. He's Voshing it up here.
People are so despicable and idiotic that this is what they believe.
Well, let's just see what else she has to say. He's like, okay. Here's what she says about here's what she actually says about the lineup at this fucking rally. It features racist, anti-trans, and anti-worker speakers like Tea Party founder Ron Paul. Now, to be clear, he wasn't a founder of the Tea Party, and the Tea Party was not a thing that could be founded. It was a marketing campaign by the Republican Party. So that's not quite right. And actually, if it were true, it would be one of the more benign things he was involved in. I mean, he's just a straight-up white nationalist. Anti-trans bigot Tulsi Gabbard. And again, that's really giving her some credit. That's like, I mean, she is that thing. She is an anti-trans bigot, but she's also an anti-Muslim bigot. She's also homophobic as fuck, and she thinks that Modi's, fucking pogroms against Muslims in India are A-okay. Andrew Napolitano, a Fox News host, who was considered by Trump for a Supreme Court seat, fuck, there's a bullet we dodged, and representatives of the Libertarian Party and Lyndon LaRouche's Schiller Institute. The most prominent representative, okay, I'm still quoting here, of the left on the bill is Jimmy Dore, a YouTube personality known for appealing with the likes of arch bigots Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan. Now, I should note that Jimmy Dore's fucking, his video on this was the number 2 result on Google. You know, Google rigged it to make this rally invisible, which is why Jimmy Dore's video endorsing the rally and telling people when it's going to be and telling people to come out and join it is only the number 2 search result on Google, because nobody sees the number 2 search result.
Right? The whole purpose of the rally, its true purpose is to strengthen the grip of the openly fascist white supremacist movement.
See, maybe I shouldn't be giving him advice here, but let me just give you a piece of advice that it comes actually from like trial lawyers. Some people think it's good to keep on repeating what your adversary says about, they're repeating a quote of their take on the case or the situation, whatever. But the thing is, when you do that, when you keep on quoting, especially a very strong statement like this, you keep on quoting that, all you do is make that more and more memorable, so the people you're trying to reach think, oh, that's interesting. I wonder what else they said.
This is the dumbest thing I have ever read in my life. Anyone who can believe this has to have a hole in their head.
You already said that. Like, I mean, are you gonna talk about the white nationalists? Okay, are we back? Shit. I had a connection fart just a second ago. Is everybody still there? Let me see. My connection has been just acting really weird. Okay, excellent. So the way that you would actually try to diffuse that is to explain, if you don't think that they're at all problematic, why actually Melinda Butterfield is not telling the truth about who these people are. You know, the fucking the LaRouches and everything. Instead, he wants to gloss over that, and that's a tell, because he wants to gloss over that shit for a very simple reason. Because he knows they're dodgy as fuck. And he knows, excellent, thank you, Adam. He knows they're dodgy as fuck. He knows that there's no defending them. And that, I mean, to even try to walk into a defense of them would be a total minefield for him.
And this kind of crap is being promoted by the algorithms because they are terrified of this rally happening.
It's worth noting that this kind of crap is not being promoted by the algorithm quite as much as the kind of crap promoting this rally is, because this is not the number 2 or 3 search result on Google. It is, I don't even know. Let me see, I'm gonna go do a Google search right now. Rage Against the War Machine, we'll just do that. Okay. The top result is a speech from the rally. You have, okay, every single result we've got here. The first 4 are promoting this rally. Then we have World Socialist Website, which they're dodgy as hell, actually, but they got the right take on this. They say it's a reactionary political freak show. Then the next one is the official Twitter account of the rally. I'm still not seeing where this, yeah, I'm nearly down to the bottom of the page. We still have not reached this Melinda Butterfield article that he says is being promoted.
And so they have rigged the algorithms to promote this kind of crap, right? That everybody who speaks at this rally is actually a Ku Klux Klansman. That's what Melinda wrote.
Well, let me see. Does she use the word Ku Klux Klan anywhere in this thing? I don't think she does. Nope, she doesn't say anything about the KKK anywhere in here. She lists the actual organizations that these people belong
Words
to.
are right there on the screen. This is what Melinda wrote. This is what a socialist group in the United States, one of the splits from the Workers' World Party, this is their position, their official position on
he's also a split from the Workers' World Party, which is to say they split from him.
Their website is that everyone who attends this rally is secretly trying to advance the agenda of an openly, not even secretly, an openly white supremacist and fascist movement.
Well, yeah. She does. That would be a really kind of damning thing to say that about every single person who participates in the rally. And see, if I were kind of going to make that case, here's what I'd do. I would go in the article, and I would find where she said that every single person who participates is explicitly, explicitly pursuing that goal. I'm guessing she didn't say that.
Anyone who believes that is so unbelievably stupid.
This is his entire... He isn't actually defending the rally. He's just calling people stupid.
I don't even know what to say.
Well, maybe then shut up.
This is a self-exposure. These groups are controlled by...
Yeah, I thought self-exposure is the sort of thing that you got called out for by the CPI, Caleb.
By the government, folks. These people are government agents.
Wait, okay. You just said that you'd have to be stupid to believe that a group of neo-Nazis, white nationalists, fucking LaRoucheites, the Libertarian Party, might be promoting a right-wing agenda. But he's just going to claim that she's a government agent based on... Well, we'll see. I'm sure he's got... You wouldn't just say that without any fucking evidence, right?
Maybe not knowingly. That's what government agents. Danny Haifong, Ben Norton, Brian Becker, PSL. They're whether knowingly or not, they are doing the dirty work of the deep state.
Oh, God. Yeah, well, make that argument then, Caleb.
These people have been running the anti-war protest movement for decades. And
I don't think that Ben Norton has been alive for enough decades to be able to have been running the anti-war movement for decades. I mean, what is he, like 30? Ben Norton age. Let me see, how old is he? Because I don't think that, I mean... I don't know, but he doesn't... He doesn't look old enough to have been running the anti-war movement for decades. Tampoco tiene fecha de nacimiento ni nada. Okay.
has been getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and weaker and weaker and weaker. But at the same time, the public has become more anti-war. Anti-war opinion among the American people has been rising. Never before have the American people been more against the Pentagon, against these wars, than they are now. And
really? That actually would surprise me if that's the case. Especially because we have the precedent of the war against Iraq, which never managed better than 50% support even before it had even started. It went downhill from 50%. People actually, on the whole, don't really think all that highly of these wars to begin with. That doesn't, but that doesn't mean that you ally yourself with a bunch of white nationalists unless you just find it okay to do white nationalist shit.
In fact, among the military, rank and file soldiers are saying they're more anti-war than even the general public is.
Where are they saying this?
But yet the anti-war protest movement has been getting smaller and smaller and smaller. You know why that is?
Well, maybe because when you have a bunch of white nationalists on the stage, a lot of people are not going to feel comfortable endorsing it with their presence, and they're not necessarily going to be safe in the midst of a protest being led by a bunch of white nationalists. Maybe that's why. Maybe when you have a bunch of fucking Nazis at the heart of your rally, That's going to mean that anyone who has a reason to be concerned about their safety around Nazis doesn't want to be there.
Because Sarah Flounders and Brian Becker and Melinda Butterfield and Danny Haifong and Brian Becker have been doing everything they can to keep average Americans from wanting to join the anti-war movement.
Yeah, because I'm sure average Americans have heard of all those people. I mean, especially Danny Haifong. I mean, he is just the most read pundit by average Americans.
And they have been attaching the anti-war movement to woke fascism.
Oh, as opposed to what? You're saying that yours is just fascism but not woke? Like, if those are the two choices.
You know, if I had a flower shop, my goal was to sell flowers, I would put a big sign on the front of it that said, "Flowers for sale."
Wow, see, this is why he's the ideological leader of the CPI. He has amazing ideas like this.
And if somebody walked in to my flower shop and said they wanted to buy some flowers, I would say, "How many do you like?" And that's how I would stay in business.
Okay, now, could it be that there's a difference between a transaction where I sell a thing to you and you fuck off and we maybe never see each other again? And forming a political alliance with people? Could it be that there's a little bit more due diligence required in the latter case than in the former?
As a flower shop owner, people walked in, "I want to buy the flowers." I'd say, "Great, how many do you like?" And I would sell them the flowers. That's not how Brian Becker and Sarah Flounders and Joe Lombardo and Jeff Mackler have been running the anti-war movement.
Since in what way are these people running the anti-war movement, incidentally? Like, how are these people? I haven't even heard of. I think I may have heard of the name Joe Lombardo, but I couldn't place it. How exactly are they running the anti-war movement?
They have been running it this way. They put a big sign out front, "Flowers." And someone walks in and says, "I want to buy flowers." And they say, "What's your position on the transgender question?"
Wow, I mean, there's nothing that says you're not genocidal quite like putting a descriptor of an entire group of people and following it with question.
"Oh, what's your position on gun control?" "Oh, what's your position on what?"
Yeah, except the thing is that, okay, gun control is a weird one, because I have a feeling that a lot of the people who criticize this rally probably are kind of in favor of leftists having access to firearms. I don't think that they're really big gun control boosters. Maybe some of them are.
What's your position on? What's your position on?
But except you don't have to ask these motherfuckers what their position is, because they're constantly telling you. They're telling you that they're white supremacists. They've got a whole 14-word slogan. You've probably heard it. You probably know it by heart, fucking Caleb. It's not like these are just random people walking off the street and you're like demanding to know their opinions on things. These are propagandists for a movement. They tell everybody what their position is. Anyone who's spent any time looking at them knows what their position is. And the thing is, their position sucks shit.
If you ran a flower shop that way, you'd go out of business in a week.
This manages to be more ridiculous than when people try to talk about the federal budget and say that it's the exact same as a household budget. Running a flower shop and building a political movement, not the same thing.
You would go out of business in a week if you ran a flower shop that way. The only way a flower shop that operated that way, that every time somebody somebody walked in to try and buy flowers, they gave them an interrogation to make sure, I don't know if we can sell to you. I don't know if you're morally pure. I don't know if you passed our woke test. Anybody who ran a flower shop that way would go out of business in a week unless they were getting a government subsidy.
Oh, what the fuck did he just... Okay. Unless they were getting a government sub... So, he's saying that... Okay. Now, remember, the premise here is that this flower shop, i.e. the anti-war movement, which these people he's listed are supposedly running. I mean, I bet that's news to them. It's certainly fucking news to me. I had no idea that they were running anything. Or that, in various cases, that they even existed. But, okay, so let's say that. So you're saying that the anti-war movement that they are supposedly running has actually been surprisingly successful. I don't really buy that, because the wars haven't been stopped. See, to me, the mark of the success of a movement against wars is that the wars stop. And if the wars are still going on, if the wars are actually getting worse and or maybe just going the direction of proxy wars rather than being fought directly, or going the direction of genocidal economic warfare rather than, having occupation forces, I would say that that's not actually a successful anti-war movement. You can say all sorts of things about the anti-war movement, but you can't really blame the anti-war movement for being suspiciously successful. I mean, look how long it took for the U.S. to stop pounding Afghanistan into the ground, and they still haven't stopped yet. They just found a new way to do it. So, okay, but to him, that is suspicious success.
Unless it was arranged that there were no other flower shops that could compete with them, and that they were the only store in town.
Okay, but that's obviously not the case here, as you've pointed out.
Unless it was arranged that anybody else who tried to open a flower shop conveniently got canceled on social media. It just happened that way.
Well, yeah, just out of nowhere. I mean, nobody would have had any... It had to be a government conspiracy. There's no reason that neo-Nazi leader Matthew Heimbach would come in for any kind of criticism from leftists if it weren't for a big fucking government conspiracy. There's no reason that leftists would have any objection to the fucking Libertarian Party if it weren't for the government telling them, you gotta object to these people. Yeah, that's gotta be it. That it's the government. It's the government telling people who are communists not to like fascists. The government had to tell us to be communists, because apparently the government wants us to be ideologically consistent in our opposition to its very existence. He's going to explain. He's got time. He's going to explain this to us.
Unless it was arranged.
Or he's going to repeat himself.
Who joined their organizations and tried to actually get them to do what they planned to do and be effective got driven out. Folks, I don't know if these people know that they are agents, but they are.
Well, yeah, and he's not going to offer any evidence.
They are agents. And their job is to keep average Americans from joining the anti-war movement.
Average Americans like the Libertarian Party, Matthew Heimbach, fucking Tulsi Gabbard, Ron Paul, those average Americans.
And to prevent the emergence of a real anti-monopoly coalition. That is what their job is.
Anti-monopoly that's really interesting. Anti-monopoly. He's not even saying against capitalism at this point. He's not even like making a token nod to being against capitalism. Now it's against monopolies. Now, which is really handy because that's the sort of thing that fascists do when they're doing their fake critique of capitalism. They're not going to critique capitalism as a whole because they actually are preserving capitalism. But they'll make it about the monopolies or the corruption or the international bankers or some shit. I mean, and so it's an anti-monopoly coalition. I mean, I don't really, I mean, see why having more capitalist competition is better than having less, because capitalist competition is always competition over profits. And whoever makes the most profits is the one most effectively screwing over their customers and grinding their workers into the dust. So, I mean, I don't see why I should be anti-monopoly abstractly if I'm anti-capitalist. If the working class holds the monopoly on the entire means of production, I'm kind of cool with that. So I guess I'm pro-monopoly in that one instance. So what the fuck is this anti-monopoly? What is he now? Fucking Teddy Roosevelt now. He's gone from like being an FDR stan to being a Teddy Roosevelt stan, apparently. It's a trust buster.
And there are powerful forces that have gotten them the gig and are doing everything they can, including rigging the algorithms.
Yes, because remember, the entire top page of results, except for two, are directly affiliated with this rally
to help them keep this gig.
What gig? How does he think that does he think the anti-war movement is an NGO?
All the proof I needed to
I think there's an executive board of the anti-war movement.
There. Right? Do I need to pull up Tyler's screenshot? I'll pull it up one more time, right? Again, you think this is fake? You think this is a fake screenshot? This is how much they love the
See, here we go. This is the screenshot. So the first result here, look at this, is Black Agenda Report with a critique of the white supremacists at the heart of the Rage Against the War Machine rally. Number 2 is a fucking Jimmy Dore video promoting the rally. Number 3 is the official website of the rally. And when I looked at it a few minutes ago, the official stuff, this Black Agenda Report link was nowhere to be seen, and it was all official stuff from this rally.
ESL, Black Agenda Report, Workers' World, Joe Sims, CPUSA phonies. They
wait, Jimmy Dore is a CPUSA phony?
Rigged the algorithms to promote one of their articles.
Yeah, I'm sure that Black Agenda Report has the kind of pull with Google that they rigged the algorithm. It couldn't possibly be that Black Agenda Report is a website that's been around for a really long time, and it's actually fairly popular because it has a lot of good stuff on it, and so its page rank would be pretty high as a result of that. It couldn't possibly be that. And it's got a hashtag in there. By the way, if you want to improve your page rank a lot of the time, having a hashtag that is shared a lot is something that actually will improve your page rank. Last I heard.
If you don't think the deep state is supporting the synthetic left and doing everything it possibly can do,
the term synthetic left it gets expanded every time he says it. Now all of a sudden, it includes, like, pretty much all Marxist-Leninists as well. People who I disagree with on all sorts of things, though there's some overlap in terms of opposition to U.S. imperialism a lot of the time, I'll say that. I mean, there's some MLs that I actually have I have a fair amount of time for. But he's now, I mean, he used to sort of try to do what TERFs do. TERFs, try to hide in feminism. Part of why they hate the term TERF is that it distinguishes them from, like, radical feminists who don't obsessively hate trans people. And so, for a long time, he tried to sort of position himself, use, like, Marxist-Leninists as sort of camouflage. And now he's just basically just telling them all to fuck off. The synthetic left at this point is basically everyone but him and, like, fascists.
To prevent
Other
a
fascists.
Real anti-monopoly coalition, a real anti-war movement from emerging. There's the proof. There's the proof.
I'm curious, this phrase that's got to be from something. Anti-monopoly coalition. Okay, here we go. Paul Saba. No, that's his transcription editing and markup. This is from the Philadelphia Workers Organizing Committee, 1975. The Organizer, Volume 1. Modern revisionism. You can fool some of the people some of the time. The Anti-Monopoly Coalition. The CPUSA, this article says, has developed an entire strategy which is geared towards this parliamentary road. A strategy which must be fought right from the beginning if we are to prevent the sacrifice of the working class on the altar of the bourgeoisie. The party calls this strategy the Anti-Monopoly Alliance, or the Anti-Monopoly Coalition. The party's anti-monopoly, this is the CPUSA again, calls for... Let me drop this link into chat. This is good. This is interesting. Yeah, isn't it interesting? I wish I got censored like that. I mean, shit, if Google would censor me like that, I would probably... I would probably have 1 million subs by now. The party's anti-monopoly strategy calls for the formation of a broad coalition of social forces. These forces include not only the working class, national minorities of the middle strata, professionals, farmers, and intellectuals, but also small businesses, which they describe in their 1969 program as an elastic term stretching from the corner grocer to firms employing hundreds of workers. These social forces are to be mobilized around a program of radical reforms. So, okay, this is what the term that he's using here, this anti-monopoly coalition shit. This is a failed strategy of the CPUSA, a failed, like, cross-class strategy that they tried to do in the 1970s, and that he's bringing back to justify, like, just working with out-white nationalists.
There's the proof. And on top of that, while we're at it, right? If you don't think these people are lying sacks of shit, if you think that they're honest...
You haven't given us actually a reason to believe otherwise?
You think that they just really believe this. Caleb, you have your beliefs, you really believe the stuff that you believe, and it looks like these people, they just believe their stuff, Caleb,
Oh, he's got the smoking gun right now. Red Boy's got the smoking gun. Let's have a look. Let's see.
They just have their beliefs, Caleb. Well, if that's the case,
Go on.
Explain this to me.
That's the quote you already put up last time. I mean, so if they...
Do you really believe that Melinda Butterfield really went and interviewed Dan Cohen, interviewed Cynthia McKinney, interviewed Chris Hedges, interviewed Jimmy Dore, interviewed Garland Nixon, interviewed all these people, and based on his honest assessment, or her honest assessment.
Why does he keep doing this? This is the second time he's done this with Belinda Butterfield. And, I mean, I've never heard of Belinda Butterfield, but it isn't exactly a gender ambiguous sort of name. It's not a name where you'd be like, it's not like fucking Vivian, where you have to kind of watch it because occasionally you find guys with that name. I mean, why does he keep doing this? This is like the third time he's called Belinda Butterfield. Is he doing a transphobia here?
I apologize.
me see.
Do you really think this is an honest opinion?
Wait, I mean, why would she need to interview them? These are all people who have been in the public eye for a very long time, who have gone on record about their views. You don't need to interview them to find out that they support allying. Either they are white nationalists or they ally themselves are completely keen on allying themselves with white nationalists. You don't need to interview them. You could just read what they say. You can watch the videos where they say it too. You don't. She
Do you
didn't
really
claim to
think
interview
that
them.
Melinda really believes this? Really believes that Cynthia McKinney is secretly in the Ku Klux Klan? That's what this says.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't say anything about the Ku Klux Klan. Okay. I'm just curious because he keeps on doing this thing with the pronouns. Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, she is trans. He's doing that deliberately. He is deliberately misgendering her. That's what's going on there. Fucking hell. Okay. We have reached like a new level of mask off with him because it used to be when he would platform transphobes, he would immediately sort of wrap himself in the fact that when he's with the Workers' World Party, he went to trans rights protests and he would show pictures of himself with an adorably cringe haircut, holding pro-trans placards and things like that. And now he's just like repeatedly misgendering this woman. Not that he is at all like, not that he has anything to do with anti-trans panic and censorship of Black and LGBTQ history. Not that he has anything against trans people. He just keeps on repeatedly misgendering her, and I can't think that that's a coincidence. I mean, because it's not like she has a name where you wouldn't be sure. You know, her name is fucking Melinda.
The purpose of the rally is to strengthen the grip of an openly fascist white supremacist movement. This article says that all the people who have supported this rally, the Green Party, the Libertarian Party,
those aren't the examples I'd lead with.
All of them are secretly wearing KKK hoods.
Secretly? It's the Libertarian Party? What's secret about their racism? I mean, their entire movement was founded to oppose civil rights.
And they're secretly plotting to wipe out other races. That's what
Who's saying anything about secretly? These people are open about it. They have fucking rallies about it. Jesus. Wow, what a fucking prick. What an absolute prick. I'm just gonna link Belinda Butterfield's Twitter. I mean, he was clearly deliberately misgendering her. I mean, and just to give you an idea, she's somebody who's writing a book on Donbass solidarity. I mean, she is not, somebody who is supporting the U.S. policy of, underwriting and prolonging the war in Ukraine by sending weapons, but not weapons that would actually allow Ukraine to meet their stated strategic objectives. Just enough to hold the Russians back for a little while longer until the next shipment comes. But, yeah, Jesus Christ, Henkeros was right when they said yesterday that this thing got wild. That's intense. Okay, but it is time to wrap it up for tonight. Thank you to everybody who's come. Thank you for the patronage, Adam. Thank you to everyone who's joined me in chat and everybody who's become a regular. I love to see you in chat every week. I hope you have a good time, and if you have ideas for stuff to do, stuff I could look at during stream, don't be a stranger. Send it in the Discord. Let me. Everybody who's in the Discord. Let me just link Discord. Have a good night, and if you would like to signal boost the crowdfunded translation project, working on the translation, the first full-length English translation of Alexandra Kalantai's Social Basis of the Female Question, just share those links in the Patreon, and that would already be a big help, because I am sure there are more people who would be interested in this project than actually see any of my posts. So any kind of signal boosting is also very, very much appreciated, because I really want to see this thing through. So have a good night. Good to see all of you, and I'll see you next week, same time as usual.